Okay, cool.
Thank you so much for doing this. It
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
so, I mean, I feel like I'm not worthy. I'm so appreciative that you would do this with me.
You're
You've
crazy.
just, you have done, I want to touch on all of the racing stuff because obviously this is kind of a niche racing
Yeah.
wives type of podcast, racing women. But you've done so much incredible stuff in the last couple years with getting involved. And I mean, you have talked to Tucker Carlson, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert Kennedy Jr., Donald Trump, JD Vance. Like, you have done some of the most insane interviews, met some of these people that I can't even believe. And I'm just curious, like, what made you want to sort of finally speak out? And what changed for you that suddenly you wanted to get involved and kind of use your platform and use your
Yeah.
voice?
Yeah. Well, thanks. It's been fun,
Yeah.
and super unexpected.
Yeah.
But I would say that, I mean, like especially coming from, where we've come from, NASCAR and racing in general, it's all very patriotic. We do, there's the jet flyover, there's the anthem every time before the race. There's like, we honor military and fallen military after, during every driver's meeting. Like, there's always so much to do with kind of being American.
Yeah.
And so I guess, and I grew up in a household kind of like that too. But then, so there's always nature and nurture, but I had both, and about being a patriotic American. And I mean, shoot, I moved to England when I was 16 years old, came
Yeah.
back when I was 19, and got a tattoo of an American flag and checkered flag, married together in a very ugly way, on my lower back, when I was 19 after I
Love it.
came home. So like I've always just had this very patriotic side to me,
Yeah.
and love this country. And so it was really at the end of 2023 when I went to at a big event here in Phoenix called AmFest,
Amfest. Yeah.
and Charlie Kirk is the guy who puts it on. And I went, and when my sister flew in, and she was just here for like 2 days, but we went to a bunch of the talks, and like we met Tucker when at that event. And anyway, I posted some photos afterwards, and it just kind of was something that blew up in judgment, which I just thought was
Yeah.
wild, because I purposely didn't say like "Make America Great Again." I just said I love this country, and I just was like appalled by the response, and I think it pissed me off, and it just motivated me to defend the country and what it means to be American.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start of it. I had also watched Tulsi Gabbard speak, and I sent her a message, DM afterwards. I believe she followed me at the time too. And so I was like, well, that was just impressive. I can't wait to watch kind of everything happen for you. She was like, we kind of just oohed at each other back and forth a little bit. And then I interviewed her for my podcast. I think it was actually in February. So it was not very much, it was only a couple months later. And then we just kind of got in contact. And she was really the one that got the ball rolling as far as doing a lot more political events,
Yeah.
and helping with the campaign. But it really was fueled from me just feeling like it was just so wild to have any level of judgment for me to say I love this country.
Isn't that kind of wild that to just say that you love the country would be controversial?
Yeah.
I mean,
And there are like
it's
even like simple things like wearing an American flag, or
yeah.
flying an American flag, or wearing red, white, and blue, even at a simple level. Like all of that is very much conveying that you're a conservative or Republican, which is so weird.
Right. Right. That's so it was such a bizarre time in our world when you decided to sort of speak out. And I mean, not even speak out, like, but just be at a place that you say, I love this country. And I
Yeah.
remember you doing that. And I remember, reaching out to you at that point in time too, and just kind of
Yeah.
being like, that's awesome,
Yeah.
And
Well, what did people in racing have to say about it? I'm kind of curious just because like in sports there's two things that you don't talk about that much. Politics and religion are kind of the
Right.
areas, the sort of taboo off limit areas where you just kind of keep to yourself on those. I don't know,
Yeah.
did anybody say anything?
Like you say, there's obviously patriotism. Like there's obviously NASCAR is one of the few sports that they're very patriotic, very they pray before each race. There's elements to it that are definitely different than any other sport. So anyway, I love that you have
Thanks.
spoken out and been like a huge advocate for the Republican Party and the Make America Healthy Again. I think
Oh
that
yeah.
when you interviewed, and health has always been such a
Yeah.
huge thing for you. Like I have your book sitting on my shelf right here, pretty intense. And for like the longest time, your pancakes which you had told me about one day at the track, I was like, you were making them and you like posted it on your Instagram. This is 100 years ago, but you
Yeah.
were like, I was like, okay, wait, how do you do that? And it was like pumpkin and an egg and cinnamon, and we like lived off those for breakfast for quite a while. And I think you maybe put it in your book. I can't remember, but
Yeah, yeah, probably
anyway,
coconut flour, maybe some almond flour.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, health has always been a big thing. So I'm glad
yeah,
you mentioned that because that was kind of one of those things that I felt like while there was like one sort of memorable impetus, I would say the passion, like the area of passion is in the health space and just
yeah,
being able to, you know, look, I feel very fortunate that, money can help you outrun a lot of problems, like even we hear
yeah,
about like SNAP programs like this where, you get government funding for food and it covers things like soda and whatnot. And it's like, fortunately it can outrun a lot of problems and, afford higher priced eggs or higher priced,
right,
foods.
yeah,
But, eventually it got to the point where you just can't outrun it. I mean, now we're hearing about, them putting vaccines in food without us knowing it, or shoot, that Apple dynamic with the A peel or whatever, like, and it was underneath the label that you had to find it if they put the coating on them. Or just even like planes flying above, and you can't tell me the chemtrail thing isn't real.
yeah. Oh no,
Dropping, and
I
what are they
believe it.
dropping in on everything? So that's the air you breathe, the food you eat. So all of that is stuff that no matter what your resource level is, you just can't outrun that anymore. And so I guess that's where it was like, all right. And I really felt like, in general, I feel like conservative people are generally the people that are like, let me just live my life. I really don't care how you live your life. Like, just leave me
Yeah,
alone. Let me do my thing. There's not a lot of advocacy in that sort of space. It's more about just living the life you want to live and leave me to it.
yeah,
And I just remember thinking, man, you have no idea what can be done until you've pissed off that group of people,
yeah,
because they're the get shit done people.
for
They're
sure.
the conviction people. They're the roots of your being kind of people to get things done. Like
Yeah,
it's I don't know. I feel like it's a different kind of motivation and conviction and effort level in those kinds of people. So I think
yeah.
that's probably also why you see, so many great things happening in the country. And, um, yeah, I think
It's
it's been a
becoming,
good thing.
so many things are coming full circle. There used to be sort of this hippie type of mindset of like that was maybe more of a liberal mindset of, home births and I don't know, certain things that are now coming full circle to that's becoming a much more conservative mindset. And it's interesting. But yes, your love and passion for health has always been something that I have loved. Oh, by the way, you have the biggest fan in my mom. She is like, I was talking to her this morning and I'm like, I'm interviewing Danica today. I'm talking to Danica and she was like, oh my God, okay. Well, you have to ask her about, biohacking and what would be her
Oh, yeah.
three things, which by the way, I want to ask you this.
Good, good.
She follows you, loves all of the things that you do, and she's so interested and she's very much a health nut. And I get a lot of my information from her, and she gets it from you. Is one of
Oh,
her
good,
people
good.
she loves to.
Well, this water I'm drinking has element in it because you can't drink
Yes.
water without salt these days.
Yes, I know. What flavor is your fave?
This one's orange, but
I
like
like
orange,
orange.
raspberry, watermelon. That's about it.
Yeah, I do the 4-pack monthly. We do lemon, orange, grapefruit, and raspberry, and they're my faves. Those
Oh
are my
yeah,
faves.
grapefruit too.
Yeah. Ty likes the watermelon.
Yeah.
I was super pregnant. I had a big jug of water. I was on a walk and I was super pregnant with Bear, and it was summertime and it was, 90 degrees outside, and I had my element and I'm on a walk, and I got down to the last like couple inches of the water and it was warm. And I was like 13-ish weeks pregnant, and I was not super pregnant, but super in the nauseous stages
Oh,
of it,
well, I mean, I don't know what that's
And
like, but it sounds awful.
yeah, you just feel like super hungover is the feeling that I had
Well, I do
for
know
the
that feeling.
yes. So that was the first trimester, and I had a watermelon element, and I about threw it up, and so it ruined me because that was my
Never
favorite
since then.
flavor.
Once you
Yeah,
throw up something, when something makes you throw up, you can't have it again.
I'm
Except
ruined for
alcohol, you
watermelon.
can get over it a little bit.
Yeah. That somehow you get by. You're like, I think I can try it. I'll give it another whirl. I'll give tequila another
Wine
whirl.
is fine. I'll try again.
Yes. Speaking of your winery, um, are you doing so? You have Somnium, but
Yep,
then you have the Danica Rosé. Are
correct.
these just your two? Because Somnium, do you have not just one wine? Like you have a
Right.
winery.
There's Rosé, Sauv Blanc. There's two different cabs and a cab franc. So there's a bunch of different ones with Danica with Somnium. Danica Rosé is made in Provence, in France, in the south of France.
Oh my gosh, we need to get some.
Yeah, and then brought over. So it's actually only sold here, but it is delicious. It's a very, very much a fan favorite. So yeah, it's your
We
summer
went.
drink. You need some.
Yes, we need some. We'll have to order some for sure. We went out to your winery. That's been a while ago that we went up there and walked around, and somebody like showed us around, my parents and Ty and I, and it's so beautiful out there. I could totally live there.
Me too. I
I
mean,
love
it's
it there.
so beautiful. I feel like you're disconnected from everything else. It's just like fancy farming and good food and good wine and
Yeah.
yeah, I love it too.
How is your winery doing?
It's good. It's good. It's a slow process. You always just think you can kind of just jump into something and it'll be just gangbusters and you'll just be like a Kardashian and you're like, wow, I have this, makeup and now it's worth $1 billion.
Right.
But it takes time. Or what was that? Haley Bieber just sold some makeup
Yeah.
company or something like that for $1 billion. I've never even heard of it. Like I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah.
decent with pop culture, but I was like, I have no idea what that is.
Oh yeah. No, so we kind of in a friend of a friend way know that we don't know them, but like we met Justin and Haley one time
Uh-huh.
and talked to them a little bit, and it was actually kind of interesting because it was I don't know why I'm sharing this story. I've never told anyone this publicly, but it was like last
Podcast, sure.
January. I feel like I'm so name dropping, but last January, we went to this event and they were there, and I was very pregnant with Bear at the time, our youngest, and very much like showing. And that's when we met them, and we had like just a kind of a short conversation with them. But then I found out later on that she was like maybe 7, 8 weeks pregnant. And so, because they kept like, we're at this event for like 4 days, and they kept like, I feel like they kept looking at me and like, oh, kind of like,
Yeah, yeah,
she's
you could feel
pregnant. And
it.
I'm like,
Oh, now it makes
she's
sense.
pregnant. Like, I said it to Ty on the trip. I was like, I bet you she's pregnant. Something about the way that their energy is towards me. Like, I think she's pregnant, and they're like, kind of like, oh, that's so sweet. That's
That's
going to
so
be you,
funny.
babe. And so it was just
And your
interesting. And
spidey
then,
senses get up a little higher too when you're
yeah,
pregnant.
yeah. And then my dad, so like that's literally the extent of our relationship. We met them one time. We had one conversation with them. And then, and we saw them that weekend like a few times. We didn't like hang out with them.
Yeah.
But My dad calls me up the other day, like whenever her company just sold for $1 billion, my dad goes, "Hey, so your friend sold her company for $1 billion." I was like, "Dad, if you are telling people that she is my friend, that's mortifying." I met her
That would be
once.
such a dad thing to do, right? Sorry,
Yes.
anything about her. They're friends.
Please don't. Yeah. But yeah, you think anyway, back
Well,
to
maybe,
you think you're gonna
maybe he's got a little, so just so that you don't feel bad name dropping, I'll name drop too.
yeah, please do.
Back at many, many years ago, I don't remember what year it was that I was at the ESPYs, but I presented an award with Justin Bieber one year.
Oh,
And
you did?
yeah,
That's
and so he
so
was super
funny.
polite, and to do a little rehearsal, he came to the hotel that I was staying at, and we met, and I don't even think we rehearsed. I feel like it was just like a hello.
Yeah.
But the skit was him in a racing suit and
Oh
him
man.
on stage with me in a race suit. You could find that clip and cut it
Yeah,
in or whatever. But
I
like,
will. I will.
he did the like I don't know what to do with my hands thing, from Talladega
Totally.
Nights. And anyway, so maybe he has a fondness for race car drivers after he pretended to be one for
Right. I
for a
love that.
quick on stage performance.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look that up. That
Yeah.
is cool. Yeah. This episode of Believe in the Good is sponsored by Nourish Move Love, and I couldn't be more excited to share their newest strength training program with you. If you're anything like me, finding the time to work out can feel nearly impossible. With 3 little ones, with weekend trips to the track, and the constant daily to-do list, I need something that is going to be quick and hassle-free and is going to actually work and be effective. That's why I'm so excited to share with you Overload 30 from Nourish Move Love, a progressive strength training program that helps you build real muscle in just 30 minutes a day. Everything is planned out for you. There's a full warm-up, strength circuits, a quick hit finisher, and a cool down. There's no guesswork, no wasted time, just an intentional workout that fits into my crazy schedule. Lindsay does such a beautiful job setting up a plan and then guiding the workout so I can just show up, move my body, and feel strong, whether I'm at home or on the road. The program is completely free and comes with a workout calendar, printable tracking sheets, and daily workouts that you can follow along with right on YouTube. And I'll say it again, this isn't about perfection. This is about showing up for you. Because like Lindsay says, progress isn't promised, it's earned. You can grab the full program at nourishmovelove.com/progressive-overload-workout-plan. I'll put that link in my show notes too. Huge thanks again to Nourish Move Love for sponsoring this episode and for creating something that truly supports women wherever they're at. Yeah, well, anyway, back to, so that all to be said about your winery, like you think something's gonna be super easy to get
Yeah.
into, but obviously you have had to keep fighting for that and working at that. And
Time. It just takes time to
yeah,
build anything. It takes time to build anything, especially when you work in a new arena, when you're doing something new, because people trust me as a driver, but they don't trust me as a winemaker or wine owner. So you kind of you have to build it up, and
yeah,
yeah, in this day and age, it's so easy to get attention for things, and so you don't just do it for. It's not just even being, a name, a recognizable name. Now it's like you can pay to play. You can, play into the
yeah,
algorithms. You can basically like buy views, buy subscribers, buy all these things. Like you can kind of
yeah,
like buy your way up, so you can artificially build yourself into a brand. So yeah, it's just like generally, the market's always very competitive, but I love it. It's a passion, and it's continuing to grow. It's just, I like to do everything quite quickly, so it doesn't go as fast as I would like it to go.
yeah. You like to do everything quite quickly. That makes a lot of
It
sense.
took a long time for me to realize that. Until I
Yeah,
really didn't realize that until I was done racing. So I
really.
realized that it was like, I'm trying to think if there's anything I like to do slow. It's really not. Like, think fast, move fast, learn fast, walk fast, drive fast. I mean, everything. Cook
Yeah,
fast, you name it.
yeah. Literally walk fast. Like, it's
Yeah.
funny you say that because we are not slow. Like, we're the same way. We're like, we want it now, we want it here. We're go, go, go. And it's hard to keep up, Like, with some of our friends, they're just like, you guys exhaust me. I can't do it. And you're that kind of intense person. And it was funny, just the other day, my little sister and we were walking, but we were with my 87-year-old grandma. And so we're taking it slow. And she was like, Grandma was hanging back with my cousin Jesse anyway. And Dakota and I are walking. And I'm like, if we were walking the pace you and I would actually walk, let's walk it in for 3 strides and just see. Because, like, it's just the pace of life is different. And that's us. That's you, too. I love that. So you have spoken up so much about and kind of gotten into politics, which is new for you. And then so much of this administration they're doing so much for health. You've cared so much about that. What would be, and like you said too, you know, financially you can do some wild shit that like Joe Schmo isn't going to be able to do for their health. But what would be the 3 practical things that anybody could do to be healthy? What would be your top 3 practical that anyone could do? And then what would be the 3 things that are like the bougie things Danica does?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. So the few things that I mean, these are things that I would do, and like I'll try and bridge that with like what anyone would be good doing. Number 1, lift weights, like 100% all the way. Flush cardio down the freaking toilet. It's pointless. If you lift right, you already have cardio going on. So I would say lift weights, which isn't an untouchable thing. It's best to have a trainer, which makes it more expensive, but lifting weights is great. And walking, I don't know if that's like just a pairing of like what to do with fitness, but that is definitely like the combination for me.
And are we talking like casual or like walking at an incline on a treadmill, or just like get on a walk
if you
outside?
want, even just walk outside. I don't even walk that much, but if there was any kind of like movement activity that I would do otherwise, it would just be like, it would just be walking or kind of just, you know, being active.
On the note of walking, something you said one time on one of your podcast episodes, I think, or I don't know when you said it or where, but my mom and I both heard it. I think it was a podcast episode. You were talking about being like a stagnant pond when you eat, like to move the sludge or something like that. And so like after you're done eating dinner, to go on a walk around your neighborhood or whatever, like to move the sludge. And I don't even know if you said it in that way. Maybe, but my mom and I,
like that.
or maybe we just heard it like that. Oh my gosh, this is my cat is about to come up here.
Well, that's okay. My dog's both of them are right here. I mean,
move the sludge, or we say that, but it's from what you had said. So now, if we're ever like together after dinner, I'm like, all right, let's go move the sludge. Let's go on a walk.
That's freaking adorable. That's good. I got to think of that.
From you.
It's so great at blunting your blood sugar response after you eat. So I learned that from wearing a continuous blood glucose monitor. You know those things that people like put on their arms? If you walk after eating, it basically takes your blood sugar and doesn't let it have any kind of spike. It really keeps it stable. Also, additionally, even just going for a walk can just generally lower it. It's like a parasympathetic activity. So sympathetic is kind of your like stress state, and then parasympathetic is when you're in a relaxed state. So it kind of drops you into that parasympathetic and lowers your blood sugar. So it's really, really great for generally everything. It's like it's a fantastic tool. Something a little bit different, I'd say, would be gua sha, and lymphatic drainage. So I do it pretty much every single day I'm home. I'll stand in front of a big red light wall. And you can just have a red light. It doesn't need to be a whole wall, but I have a whole wall. And I do gua sha, so I do my sort of face all the way down my chest, because if you followed the health journey too, you know I had implants and then I got them out. And so I've always just imagined that I need to move the energy, the stagnancy, all the way through my armpits, because there's 6 main lymph node areas. One's behind your ear, inside your collarbones, underneath your armpits, your stomach, your groin on both sides, and then back sides of both your knees. So I'll kind of do the gua sha actual thing with the plates, and because I like to do everything fast, I have 2 of them, so I do it even faster. Yeah, exactly. And then I do I hit those 6 spots. which kind of just works the lymphatic. And then I just like bounce and jump for a little bit after. Like you've probably heard of
That's
rebounding,
what I was
right?
gonna, yes, I was gonna ask you, do you have a rebounder and do you like
I
that?
do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
And then my bedroom got so cluttered with shit. I had like a hyperbaric chamber, red light wall, a rebounder. At one point I even had a rower in there. Oh my God, like Jesus, in my bedroom. Not the right vibe.
It's your health zone. We
Jeez,
have
yeah.
we have a hyperbaric in our bedroom.
Do you
It's really
really?
pretty. Yes.
It's so
How do you
boring.
feel about it is boring? I mean,
It's
you
so
gotta,
boring, but it is supposed to be one of the best things. The problem, you probably have a
yeah.
soft chamber, right?
I think we have the exact same one. I think
Yeah,
I've
the
seen yours.
Veritas or whatever
Yep.
it is, or
Yep.
something like that. Yeah, it's like a 1.2 atmospheric pressure versus,
Yep.
so it's not that much more, 1.2 more. So the hard chambers can kind of get up to 1.8. And so basically with the hyperbaric chamber, it just pushes more oxygen into the cells, which is just generally helps everything work better. But it takes like getting up to like 40 hours in the chamber before it starts to make a difference, which is a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, you have to do it for like at least an hour at a hour and a half at a time,
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then we were doing it very regularly. I do try to force Ty to get in it at least once a week just to have some value in the fact that we got this extremely fancy
Expensive,
bougie
this
thing. Yeah,
$20,000 chamber. Yes.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
but
I don't love
anyways,
it. It's boring, but it's supposed to be amazing for
yeah,
you. So,
yeah.
it was,
So okay, so like walking, lymphatic drainage,
yep. And
liquid
then,
weights.
man, my third most
Yeah,
accessible one, ate protein. I mean,
yeah.
just eat protein. Screw everything else. Honestly, I don't even really eat vegetables anymore, barely.
Yeah, oh
I,
really? Are you kind
yeah.
of doing like
No,
carnivore-ish?
I mean, like for
Yeah.
breakfast, most of the time I have like 3 eggs and a couple egg whites. I have a piece of sourdough toast, put a little avocado on one half, maybe the other half. I put some butter and some honey. Like, I
Mm.
mean, then my starches are like rice, potatoes. I still kind of choose gluten free, even though it doesn't bother me as much anymore. But I still choose it. And then I just eat a lot of protein. I mean, I eat chicken, steak, I
Yeah.
don't eat fish at home as much because I had really, really high mercury levels
Oh, interesting.
before when I was at my unhealthy place. So I just don't really eat it at home. I'll eat it out,
Yeah.
but I don't eat it at home. So yeah, and or maybe like even tacos, like just get some.
Yeah.
Corn tortillas don't bother me. Like I don't really care about that
Do
whole
you ever like
corn.
go full rogue and like have a sleeve of Oreos, or are you just like
No,
super strict?
I
Yeah.
don't desire it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess
Strict
is the thing.
it'd
Like
be
if
a
I
different way to put
did.
it. What? Say that
If I
again?
desired it, I might, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I might desire drinking a whole bottle of wine and then I do that.
You do drink.
Yeah,
Like it's not, I don't say it like that, but you don't like
sure.
not drink. Yeah. And do you drink just wine or do you drink anything?
Mostly. I
Yeah.
drink tequila or vodka sometimes too, but like
Yeah.
mostly just wine. It's the only thing that really
Nice.
tastes good. I don't really like that much. I don't really like liquor that much.
Yeah. Yeah. I I go through spurts. I'd say my liquor of choice would be tequila. Like I'll
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
or vodka. Yeah. Tequila,
Yeah.
vodka, or wine. Yeah,
Vodka's a
you're
little
right.
easier to drink, but tequila is a bit more of an upper. It kind of is like a good mood one.
Right.
All right, those are sort of the accessible ones. So
Uh-huh.
lift
What would
weights,
be
eat
more
protein, lymphatic drainage, and then the high end stuff that would be
hmm
more fun. The top of that list would probably be EBOO. It's like a blood dialysis where you pull from one vein, one arm, you put it and push it back into the other, and when you pull from the one vein, it goes through a filter and then goes through ozone and then it
hmm
goes back in the other arm. And so when I
Does this
first
happen
started,
at once or do you get one done and then they inject
it's all
it?
happening at the same time. So they
Oh.
they tap you in, or like my veins suck, so actually I get a ultrasound tech to come do it, and they usually go in my bicep, like really deep, like in my top of my
Oof.
arm, because my veins just they can
Yeah.
I can push stuff into my veins, but pulling out of my veins is like
Yeah.
I also dump a couple hundred milliliters of blood every few months for my hematocrit number, and like Pulling it is usually done manually for me, just because it's like it's just,
Crazy.
yeah, my veins are just shit. I remember I
Yeah.
had a genetic test done a couple of years back, and one of the genetic markers showed that I had like the lowest vein quality genetically. It
Wait,
also showed that I had the highest amount of dopamine receptors in my brain available, so that was
that is
good.
nice.
But yeah, so I don't know if that's why, but yeah, so my veins are kind of crappy.
That's
So
why you're a
anyway,
race car driver.
yeah,
Like
right.
you're wanting that highest level of dopamine. That makes sense.
Totally. And so I think that's probably my favorite. But when I first started doing it, when it pulls it, you can see stuff coming out of like through the tube, like out of your blood, like particles and stuff. So they say it can
Wow.
help just sort of, it like cleans half of your blood in an hour. So they do it for an hour.
Oh my
But
gosh,
when I
that's
first
so
started, when it was going back in the other arm, once the blood turns black going back in, it means it's a really high oxidative stress. And
cool.
so we actually couldn't do ozone for the whole hour the first couple times I did it because I had such a stress response. Like my body was still
God.
not relaxed enough. It was still fighting things. So anyway, by like the fourth time I did it pretty consecutively, then it got much better, and now I just do it like once a year. But I love,
Probably have to find a very skilled. I've never heard of this.
yeah,
I'm gonna look this up.
yeah, it's definitely words that I can't remember. Eboo,
Yeah.
EBOO, but it's a really cool process. I've a lot of people really like that.
Yeah.
One of them that I'd say is like kind of bullshit that I think's not worth it, that comes to mind as we're talking about this stuff, is NAD. Have you heard about NAD?
Oh my gosh, I literally have it written down. I was gonna ask your thoughts on NAD. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and again you come across someone that's like, wow, I sleep so much better. I have so much more energy. But 98% of the people that do it are like, bullshit. Like, didn't
Yeah.
really do anything. Didn't do
That's so
anything for me.
interesting.
I did 5 sessions in 10 days
Yeah.
and I noticed nothing. One of my really good friends,
Like,
Michaela Peterson, she had, you know, Jordan Peterson, her
yeah.
dad, like the philosopher professor. So Michaela lives out here and we're friends. And like she did like, I think she said she did like 18 NAD sessions. She's like, it didn't do anything, but she
Oh,
loved
really?
Ebu as well. I sent her to the Ebu place that I went to out here.
Yeah. I always hear Jordan talk about her and her like health and
For
everything. Anytime he's
mold and
yeah.
metal, like mold and everything. So Ebu is really cool. I really love that.
Yeah.
What else? What really?
But what I was gonna say is so my mom, she had a nurse come to her house with my mom's friend, and they did the NAD thing, and my mom didn't really feel any
Makes you
different
feel
from
like
it.
shit while you do it. I mean, while you do it, it makes you feel kind of nauseous, and there's
That's
a
what I was gonna
histamine
say.
reaction too. So you
Yeah,
get a little like stuffy because there's a little bit of a histamine sort of nature to it. But
yeah.
you can only take the drip as fast as you're willing to tolerate the discomfort of like nausea and discomfort.
So that is how it makes you feel. It kind of makes you feel like shit during it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So Ibu, I think that EMDR is the most powerful therapy tool
Yeah.
outside of your willingness to do some kind of plant medicine, which I think ayahuasca is the most powerful one.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Do you have you done any like psychedelic
Oh yeah, done them
stuff?
all.
Yeah.
I can say that now that I don't drive a race car.
Right? Now that I'm not being drug tested.
I mean, I'm on the Psychedelic Board of Arizona to try and help get psilocybin legalized. But I mean, psilocybin ceremonies are also very powerful. I found I learned a lot about the universe with that, but I think that ayahuasca was really good at showing you like your pattern that blocks you.
Mm.
But outside of doing
That
drinking
EMDR.
a cup of sludge in the middle of the Amazon with a shaman, which is definitely a very far-reaching situation. I would say finding a good therapist that enjoys, likes, and is good at doing EMDR
Hmm.
is powerful. I actually just saw a clip. Miley Cyrus and it was an interview, and she said EMDR saved my life. And
Oh wow.
it is the most powerful tool for reprogramming these really traumatic memories that you have, big or small. Like, I don't know if you've heard of big T, little t, but like there's big traumas that are like,
Yeah.
rape, abuse, like really naturally big traumas, addictions, whatnot. But then there's little t traumas that are like something that someone said. Maybe you're driving down the road and your, mom yelled at you and she hates your singing and she just yelled at you to stop. And now you have this trauma that you should never sing again. And you've had that since you were 6. And, like you can go into that memory and fix it. Like you can go into these little T trauma memories I did a brain scan with Dr. Amen, and he's such a kind, good man. And he just sporadically follows up. And at one point in time, he asked how I was doing, and I was doing really terrible. And I'd never been depressed before, but I was doing so much detoxing and so much I was trying to get rid of the metals. So I was doing these blood-brain barrier tinctures that would help release it from my brain. And anyway, I finally got depressed, which is a thing that can happen with doing a lot of that stuff. And so he's like, go do hyperbaric chamber. I get it.
I'm bored to death in here, Dr. Amen.
Yeah. I love you, Dr. Amen. It's so boring. And some people can do it. I just am not. I hate sitting still that long. And then also do EMDR. And he said, make a list of your top 10 traumas and go into EMDR and reprogram them all. So, the process of making your top 10 traumas is actually kind of like hard at first. You're like, you get your little pen and paper out and you're like, okay,
like these are things
what was a trauma, right? Like, and then you start remembering things that like the traumas are the ones where you have this memory of like it's almost like a photograph or a little mini video, and you just like, it's etched in your mind, something that's not good. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess. Yeah, I remember that one time my dad yelled at me when I was go-karting and I did that thing. Or like, oh, I remember when I got made fun of for that. Okay, that's another thing. And like, there's like these almost like pictures or images that you have. And that's
so do you do 10 big T, 10 little T, or just 10?
10 traumas. Just
whatever they are.
Just 10 traumas. So I probably had like almost 20. And then I just like, because you just get rolling and, you're just thinking of anything that seems bad. And then I was like, okay, these are really the top 10. And then I just went in with my therapist and did EMDR. And I think I actually literally passed therapy by the fact that my therapist just didn't get her laptop up one day to schedule me. And she was like, well, if you need me again, just let me know.
I'm like, I'll come to you next.
I think I just passed.
Graduated.
So EMDR, because that's again going to be a
you know what EMDR stands for?
Again, it's another one of those it's basically ends up implying about a left-right brain. They do what they do so people don't think it's scary and weird. Because I remember when I first heard about EMDR and I was like, is it like a injection? Is it like
that's what I'm wondering.
What is it? It's not. So it's the way my therapist does it is we'll talk about a trauma, and we'll go to like the peak moment of it, and then she has this little device that almost looks like a little a little record, like a little box, and there's 2 leads that come out of it. So that box controls the speed and the frequency of the buzzing. So basically, I get a lead in one hand and the other hand with a little pad on it, and it goes bzz, 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 bzz.
Yeah.
And what it does is it allows you to go into that. When you go into that memory first and you talk about it, and then you start the buzzer, you have to empty your mind, and then it's like transporting in time, and then you get to see the event over again, but from like you see the new movie happening, but you get to see like you from a observer perspective. You can see them. You can even see what drove their pattern and why they did what they did. Like at one point, one of my traumas, I even saw like what was like angelic soul orchestration, where it was like I was meant to have that experience. Like, okay, look over this way and pay attention to what's being said. Like it was like I was being guided.
You were really able to like be outside of your body and feel and see this? Wow.
Like time travel. It's wild.
I have to do it.
Yeah,
sounds so cool.
The trick is, because the first time I did it, it was like unreal. And then the second time, since I knew what happened, I kind of like guided my brain a little, and so it took a few rounds, because the buzzing you only do it for maybe like a minute, and then you stop and you sort of report what you saw and what you experienced, and then she would say, okay, notice this now. And then you go back into the buzzer for another minute. And then, okay, what did you notice? Well, I'd done like probably 6 or 7 rounds or 8 rounds, and like it kind of wasn't really happening. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm just gonna like sit here, and if nothing happens, nothing happens today. That's just what today is. And at that moment of surrender, of not thinking about anything and not trying to force the process, all of a sudden I had the experience. And I think we went through like 20 rounds after that. And
Wow.
so it's a real good like challenge. It's a challenge to like empty your mind the way you need to, but
Yeah, because
yeah.
I feel like I would be sort of controlling of it,
Yeah, you want
you
to
know?
think.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm not to say that I'm like a controlling person, but that I would want to guide it, like you say. That
Yeah,
might be hard for me to relinquish that control.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I need to try it.
yeah.
Is it things that like you have worked through and you're like, I feel good about this, but I'll readdress it because if I can make it better, it'd be good. Like, is that beneficial? Or is it like, I'm going through this right now, this trauma, and I want to get through it?
Well, you know how when
I
you
guess
go through
not, because you
life,
say it's something
the
when you were 6 years old.
it's
Like, you
all
can't.
kinds of things. So it's things to just feel better, but really what it comes down to is the things that are triggers.
Yeah.
Like it's like, it's like if you get like made fun of for being fat when you were a kid and you have this complex your whole life, then
Yeah.
you can get rid of the trigger. Or if I'm trying to think of some of my, I think it's easiest to think of my
I
own.
was going to say, is there any that you'd be willing to share that was like, that was something struggled with, and then I worked on this, and I don't even give a shit about that anymore?
I mean, like that happened. I feel like when I was a little kid, I got made fun. My dad made fun of me for being fat when I was really young, and that was the one where it was like, nope, you need to look and see this experience and have it.
Yeah.
And that happened when I was like, I don't know, like 5th grade. I don't know, 4th, 5th grade or something like that. I'm trying to remember, like, it's hard to actually remember all 10 now. Some of them were relationships and experiences that I had.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, they kind of ranged the spectrum of various different things.
So interesting.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to ask you about. And you can say, Haley, like, no, fuck that. I don't want to talk about it. But are you single right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Danica have to date a famous dude? Does she have to,
No.
okay, like you would date a guy. I mean, he has to be driven and a good guy. I mean, you're not going to date a douchebag, but like, do you want to be with someone?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I
yeah,
love I love relationships. I love like traveling with someone. I love adventuring. I love like doing the monotony of life. I like grocery shopping. I like cooking. I like doing all that. I love cuddling. I mean,
I think that the
um,
thing about you that people would be the thing that I love about you that and maybe people see you and think you're this like intense person, you're this you know have this energy about you that might feel make a guy nervous, but like you also have this when you get to know you, you have this beautiful feminine softness about you that I don't think maybe people don't understand. I
oh,
think until they get to know you, but you do have this like
thanks.
tender-hearted feminine energy as well that like
Thank you for
some
saying that.
yeah, you do. You absolutely do. Obviously, you're this badass woman that does all of these things. You're this intense person. You're go, go, go and fast paced. But you also are like, I see a woman that is like receptive to love, that has a feminine energy that wants to, you know, I don't like the word, but the first word that comes to my mind is like serve
I
the
do. Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
love
you.
taking care of somebody.
Yes, yeah,
Mhm.
and I see that for you.
Thank you.
What do you
Like, what's
do
the
you
challenge here? Yeah. Or what do I like? I mean, in a kind of like, because you're kind of asking, like, what kind of guy? I
Yeah,
mean, there's like some important elements. I mean, part of it ends up being a little bit of matching lifestyle. Like, I'm at a point in
yeah,
my life where I can go a lot of places and do a lot of things. And so, having someone that's like able to do that is important, to be
yeah,
able to just go to somewhere for a week or two or go to travel and go places. And also if you don't live in the same place, how does that look? How can you bridge
yeah,
that gap? And
yeah,
so and then what happens with that is that I the way that I like to do all those things tends to be pretty nice, you know, like you travel and
Yeah.
you do it well.
Yeah.
So if they aren't financially
You don't want to
successful,
fly last class next to the bathroom.
no,
You're gonna,
exactly.
yeah.
So it's not that I mind paying, because there's been so many times that I have, but what ends up happening in the dynamic is that the man feels less of a man. And
Yeah, you don't.
so it can like prove out to be a little harder, even though even two party, both people can be like, it's all good, it's all fine. It's like, it still shows up. It's still, there's like a
Yeah.
primordial nature to men to wanting to provide. And I want that too. And I do think that from a feminine perspective, there's this whole thing around safety. And so like, it's not safety in a sense that I'm not going to get hurt, right? Because that's not, no one's showing up for that on purpose. It's like,
Yeah.
that should be assumed, but
Obvious.
it's
Yeah.
more about like being able to go like, what can I as a woman just not plan things? Can I just be the one that just shows up? Can I be the one that just like doesn't have to pick up the tab and decide how much to tip? Can I just not
You
get
want to
the
be
Uber?
courted.
Can I just like not do? Because
Yeah.
when I do, I get into more of a masculine state, because you have to, because you're like organizing, planning, checking, you're making sure you're like, you're doing
Yeah.
all the things. So that's kind of the safety element, is like, can I just like be? And like, what if I just what if I'm just someone who doesn't want to do anything anymore? Can you just take
Yeah.
care of me? Like, are you capable of taking care of me? Can you do that?
Yeah.
That is like the safety I think that a woman wants to feel, is that
Yeah.
she can surrender like that. And it doesn't mean she
Yeah.
doesn't want to do anything, or a woman doesn't want to have ambitions or accomplish great things, but or just even have anything to accomplish. Of course you do. But it's that you want to make sure that you can like sink back a little bit and be taken care of if you want, or if
Yeah.
you need to, right?
Right. I think
Like
that
let's
it's
say when you're
being
pregnant, there's some shit that you just can't do, right?
right, right. You want to feel like you want to be courted, first
Yeah.
of all, like that. I think you want to feel like a guy is going to be like, I've got you. And when you feel that safety, that's where all the good shit happens. I
Yeah.
mean, when you feel that safety and you feel secure in it, that's where the sexy stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah.
and I think when you emasculate a man, like if you make a man feel emasculated, that's like, sorry dude, that's not going to work. Like that's not what I'm trying to do. And you
Right.
need to like, a man needs to step up to the occasion of like being good enough for you. That's a lot to ask. Like, where are you at? Are you on a referral only basis, or are you like on Tinder? Like what?
I've never been on an app in my life, and I won't. That's fine. I'm like such an
Like
introvert that I'll just like,
racking my brain for the single men I know.
thank you. Good. I
I
think
will.
referral base would be good.
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't have that skill set, because there's such like an
Yeah.
X factor to meeting someone that you can't,
Yeah.
you just like, it's just gotta happen, the chemistry. But
We are literally putting this out there is like, I'm gonna be interested to see who's sliding in to my DMs to get to your DMs.
send the good ones.
I will. I will. I'll bet them.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's just got to be someone that has that kind of flexibility, someone that probably can, can pay their way to some degree, because it's what creates that good dynamic.
Yeah.
And then someone that's really smart. I think if there's one thing that I've found is like a really common denominator for me, they really do have to be smart. I love to learn and question things. And so if someone's not like that, then they'll get irritated by my curiosities in life, or my conspiracy theory conversation, or my question about the universe and how it works, or like whatever the oddball topic is. And then, level of humor too. Like, I've really learned how important it is
Definitely.
that someone is funny.
Yeah. Well, you
That
were
makes life
literally
so much
sitting
better.
next to Theo Vaughn. When you were sitting next to him, I don't know if you got my message where I was like, marry him.
Oh,
I don't even know if he's single, but you were sitting next to him at one of those functions, and I was like, oh my God, he's so funny, but
and endearing. Like,
I'm putting it out there,
yeah,
Danica.
yeah, right. I do have Theo's number.
There you go.
He was very sweet. He was so funny that day. He was like, that was at the inauguration, and I was in this
Yeah.
very like eclectic group of people that got put together to go to the Capitol, which very, very
Yeah.
few people went to the actual Capitol, and Theo was one of those people, and I basically sat with him all day, like sat with him
Yeah.
on the bus over there, sat with him for the inauguration portion, and
I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, maybe I'll
We're
have to
floating that one out there,
say, hey,
Theo.
Theo, how's it going?
He's funny as shit, and he is, an oddball, but he seems smart. I know,
Yeah.
like in his
All
weird way,
comedians
he's a very
have to
smart
be.
dude.
I
Yeah,
mean, he plays dumb really well, but that's like part of an act, I
yeah,
believe, too. If
yeah,
you're comedians are generally some of the sharpest people just because they have to
definitely.
be that witty. Like to be witty, you actually have to know a lot of stuff. You
Oh
can't
yeah,
be clever without knowing things. And so
definitely.
comedians are usually pretty smart.
Super sharp. I mean, some of the stuff he pulls out, I'm like, how in the
Yeah.
world was he that
Yeah.
quick-minded? But
And then I usually
that's
like tall guys. That's actually just a thing. And like if
okay.
there's like one type, I'm like I generally like really tall guys.
Okay, good. Tall, funny, smart, rich. No, I'm just kidding.
Trust me, I've dated
But
some
not,
non-rich.
yeah, that is not that much to ask. No.
Hmm. Exactly. And then when you look into like psychology, and there's what's called like like hypergamy is this trend of how people tend to mating
Hmm.
hypergamy. And so men tend to date when we're talking about like success and intelligence and money and status. Men sort of date lateral and down, and women date lateral and up.
Ah,
Yeah, that makes me
yeah.
screwed.
That makes you screwed
So
because
screwed. So
you're, no, I'm
screwed. So
just kidding.
screwed. Not literally either.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah. That I can't do that casual thing. So if it's not a real
Yeah,
relationship,
no.
it's not happening in my world. So
Right. It's not going to be a casual thing.
no,
I
I'm
mean,
too damn serious for everything.
yeah. I
So there we
love
go.
that.
There's my dating resume. There's the feelers. Put them out.
Okay, they're out there. I think that, something's going to transpire from this.
Good.
I have a feeling. Maybe that's what this whole thing was all about. Just invite me to the wedding, okay?
Done. Done. Maid of honor speech.
Yes, it was all stemmed from. I love that. So
June
that
4th, 2025.
it was what set the tone for and the rest was history. So that being said, like, so you are so out there. You've had so many crazy like people on your podcast. You're such a curious person, very intelligent woman. Where are you at right now with your faith? I mean, I'm doing this podcast. It's called Believe in the Good. I believe that God has a beautiful plan for my life, and I want to believe in the good. And I believe that with, a certain perspective on life, good things will be brought in. I want to believe in the good, and that's kind of the essence of the name of the podcast.
Instead of like, I'll believe it when I see it, you'll see it when you believe it. Is
Yeah,
really how it
yeah,
works.
yeah.
So I'm generally like, look, I got, 100 million years ago, I was married. I became Catholic for that. Like, I went to Baptist church during my NASCAR days. I've
Yeah.
done, I love all of, I don't know if this is a real thing, but it's called omnism, which is that you don't necessarily believe in that you believe in a little bit of all religions, that there's truth in all of them, but I don't necessarily follow any one of them. I find
Okay.
I'm much more on the spiritual spectrum of things. I like to think about like, instead of, the big question that thrust me into spirituality was more like, instead of like, who is God, is like, what is it?
Okay.
So, like for me, and it's funny, a lot of people answer it and they won't really answer right. But what is like, let's like give me something tangible. What is this? And so for me, God is more of an energy, which, you know, I'll say before I start, all of this can coexist. Religions, spiritual,
Right.
like all of these things are just different ways to describe it. None of them make
Mhm.
anyone exclusive. Have you seen like the comparison between an alien and an angel? And like it's like, oh, not from this world, comes
Yeah,
in your
Ty and I
dream.
have a
Like,
lot of conversations about aliens being angels. Like,
so
yeah.
so we could be talking about the exact same thing using a different
Right.
word, right? So
Right.
for me, because the reality, the way that it plays out is not necessarily any different. Um, uh, so for me, I believe that God is an energy. It's a frequency. It's like, and my job as a human is to elevate my frequency more of the time. And like for instance, they did a test of in a Faraday cage. Which, have you heard of Faraday cases? They basically like lock in frequency so nothing can get out. So in a
Hmm.
Faraday cage, they tested human emotions, and so or human feelings, emotions, and they learned that the frequency of authenticity was, I just saw somebody say 40 times stronger, but I thought it was 4,000. Anyway, Gary Brecka was the one that did this test. But either way, the frequency of authenticity was so much stronger than love. And so, like, for me, what that says is that when you're in alignment with yourself, you have a higher frequency and you attract like frequencies.
Yeah.
So, so I'm big on energy. Like I'm everything. I think about everything in terms of energy. And in
Mhm.
fact, in my altered states of plant medicine journeys, that's really what I've been shown. Like especially with psilocybin, that being human wasn't real, and that we're really just a wave. We are just a wave. We are a frequency wave,
Mhm.
and all of our
Yeah.
experiences are just interactions with other waves that produce an experience.
Wow.
And that, yeah, and that
That's out there.
that's out there. That's, I get it. I get it.
You know what? You know what though? Here's the thing. So like the reason I was bringing up your faith too is because it's coexist. It's with the whole dating thing. Like you that's obviously important to everyone
Totally.
where
We
you
got to be on
stand
the
on your
same
faith.
page. Yeah.
But I think that the thing about you, like bringing it back to like once you get to know you and you have this feminine, soft side of you, like when you get to know you, that is who you are. I think that the thing about all of these things that you're on this journey with your faith and learning all of these different things is you're not, I don't believe that you're judgmental. Like if a man came in with his own belief and thoughts and things that he loves, you are soft, you have a soft open hand to that. Do
Yeah.
you? I
Oh
mean, or
yeah.
are
I
you
mean, I'm
like,
very receptive. I mean,
yeah,
I'm curious. So the
yeah,
curiosity is a trait of openness. And
because
so
that
with
might,
openness, it means you can shift, right? So I've just
yeah,
described to you that I've become Christian. I've become Catholic, gone to Baptist church,
right,
and been in the Amazon with the shamans, right? Like
right.
clearly I'm open. And so
Well,
openness
because that
is
might be
indicative
intimidating.
of moving around.
Yeah, because that might be intimidating for a man that
Hmm.
is like, oh, I would want to date her, but I don't know about what she would think about my beliefs. But like
Sure.
here and now, set the record that you are a very, like, I want to put the words in your mouth, which I'm not, but like that you are a receptive person to all of that. Like
Yeah.
you're not judgmental. You're not so out there that you're like, oh, if you believe in that, Jesus died and rose again, I'm not gonna even go there with you. Like,
Unless
what
you
are you?
believe that there are more than two genders, like we're good. I mean, you do have to sync up, but like
Yeah,
every night I remember before I go to bed, I pray. So that's like
yeah,
a very Christian thing to do, and
yeah,
I 100% believe it works.
yeah.
But I
Oh,
also know that there are manifestation techniques that are
yeah,
a little different than that too, that also
yeah.
absolutely work.
Yeah, I was just talking to Brooke Canals about this, about how, you know, manifestation and just sort of wanting to And just sort of going out into the world with that energy that like good things are going to happen for me, and that like and like you say, praying before bed, like something we were talking about is just gratitude, having gratitude.
So,
Yeah.
2 life hacks right now.
Yeah.
Plan more fun and be grateful.
I love it.
If you plan more fun, it puts you in an elevated state. It puts you in this like, because if you plan fun, what you're doing is you're planning fun for yourself, which means you're enjoying yourself, means you're happy, means your
Yeah.
frequency goes up. It means you're more in alignment with yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to do anything you don't want to do when you're planning fun for yourself. So that is alignment, and alignment is authenticity. And then when when you're grateful for all that you have, you put yourself in a positive mental state, and it's just those two things can just change everything.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. So I haven't touched on racing at all, but I do want to bring up your racing life and career. And, you know, anyone that follows you kind of knows where you began. You raced go-karts, you and your sister were racing, and then you traveled to Europe and raced, and you came back. So catching up to where we met in NASCAR, we love the number 10. I need to get some Danica 10 merch. Do
Old
you
merch.
have any?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure, and I'm sure the storage unit's chock full of it. Haley's probably like, "What do I do with all this stuff?" We literally bought a humongous storage unit because there's just cars and memorabilia and suits and helmets and
Yeah.
hero cards and
I need to get some Danica 10 merch and like wear it to Ty would be like, "What the hell?" He wouldn't. He would love it, but he would be like, "That's
yeah,
not
wear it all
mine."
cute. Like I remember one time I saw it was a few years back. Demi Lovato had a 10 Danica 10 like
Oh
racing
my
shirt on,
God.
and it was all cut off and her boobs were hanging out. It was hot, but anyway, like so you
I
just
love
you
it.
just you just sexy it up.
Yeah, there you go. So, what was
Or
your
you do the big t-shirt style with the biker shorts, right?
no
That's
shorts? Yeah,
the cool girl
exactly.
look.
That's the
The
vibe
cool
right
girl, I don't
now.
care look.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was looking this morning at some of your like racing clips in NASCAR. I don't even know like where to begin, but you were so badass how you got into it and raced against these guys, and they like bullied the shit out of you, I feel like. And then you were like, you did not take their shit. Like you were so like there's this clip, and I mean it's funny because we're friends, obviously, so are you with Denny,
Oh
and I
yeah.
love that clip where you go up to him, you grab onto him. It's like it seems like it's about to be this like mad passionate moment where you like kiss him or something. You're like, you fucker, and you start yelling at him, and it's like it's so awesome. But man, I mean, I don't know
That started
how.
when I was young. I've done that for my whole life. I remember I
Yeah.
was racing go-karts. I was probably like 10 or 11. It was very beginning. And I remember somebody pulled out in front of me during practice, and this is practice. And I came into the pits, like took my helmet off, went up to the go-kart that did it, and it was a full-grown adult. And if this is true, in my memory, it was like the president of Klein Tools. Like it was a
Oh
full-grown
my God.
adult, like
Yeah.
CEO. And I was like, what are you doing? Like I've
Yeah.
had the gift of not giving a shit what people think about me, other than
Yeah.
like a human level. Like it's not like I'm a
Right.
robot, but like generally
Right.
don't really care what people think about me. So
I just love it. But man, you there was like this compilation of videos, and I'm like, okay, his fault, his fault, his fault, his fault. I'm like, this poor girl. And then I mean it just I don't know, I was like going to bat for you watching these videos and I was like, man, she really had such a crazy career in NASCAR, but like such a amazing something to be so proud of. Like, what was your like? What did you love about it, and what are you like? I am so glad I'm not
oh
in it anymore.
oh
Like, what are your thoughts?
what did I love? I mean, I loved like the racing was fun because it had changed a lot. Like, the tires would go off, the track would change, you could dial the car in. Like, there was a lot of passing. I just felt like, when you were good, it was really fun. You did a lot of passing, and
Yeah.
that's always a good time. So I enjoyed the racing, and the people. There's a lot of great people, obviously
Yeah.
yourself and just so many good, good humans. So I really liked that part about NASCAR.
Yeah.
What I don't care, I mean, the schedules, it's your whole life.
Yeah.
It's relentless.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, it's so nice to not care so much about every little thing all the time. Like, who
Yeah.
gives a shit about the one practice or the one qualifying or even the one race? There's so many of them, but I did. Like, it
Yeah.
gets so stressful, and there's only one person that wins every weekend. There's only one person that's quickest in every session, every qualifying. Like, and it's usually not yourself. Like, even the one who wins the most amount of races in the season, what was it, Larson won 11 one year? Like that's 11 out of 38 or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it even if you win the most, like that's ever been won, like you still lose more than you win by a
Then
landslide.
you right.
So it's just like a lot of frustration. I don't miss that. I don't miss being in that state anymore.
Pressure of it.
And then, yeah, I don't miss the monotonous bullshit interviews either, or like media
Oh,
days or whatever when you just car wash
yeah.
yourself around everything. And oh my
So true.
gosh, yeah, some of that stuff just got so tiring. So
Yeah. Well, like the racing too is, I don't know what the percentage, but it's like 30% of the whole what it entails of actually being a NASCAR driver, with the interviews, the practice, the during the week, like what when you're
stuff.
actually helmet on, yeah,
Yeah,
there's so much more to it.
yeah.
What did you like more? I mean, if you could even like say which one you liked more, Indy or NASCAR.
Um, I like things about both. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I have a little bit more like nostalgia for IndyCar just because it's kind of how I got on the map and, I won and, Indy was so special and I had lots of chances to win there. And so I have a lot of nostalgia about IndyCar. But
Definitely.
I had a lot of fun in NASCAR
Yeah.
I have some, I'm so glad I did it. It was just I'm so glad I had that experience.
What was it like for you just this last month covering the Indy 500?
Oh yeah, it's always just such an honor, Again,
Yeah.
that nostalgia's there, and I feel like I can sort of, because I do a lot of F1 stuff too, and I feel like I can speak a little bit more confidently about the cars or the dynamics or whatever's going on, even though whenever I ask engineers or people like that about, F1 or other things, it's like it's all pretty much the same. But it's cool. It's a really spectacular race, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. I have a lot of it's a good feel race for me.
All right. Who's the most famous person that you've met or that you have in your phone? That I never ask anyone, but I just had the thought. Like this
I
girl.
don't have Donald Trump's number. Don't. I don't. But I've got lots of other ones. I've got 'em- I got the rest of them. I don't have Elon's number either. Haven't met Elon. Those are the
Haven't met
two I
him.
haven't. But I don't know if it's got to be. It's the politicians feel like they're superstars these days, but I don't know.
What's like an actor?
Um,
That's such a weird thing to ask.
Trying to think if there's. I feel like there are a lot of athletes, um, politics, athletes. I don't think there's as many actors.
Do you ever
Actors
have
are fine, but they're
people?
also a little weird.
Yeah, actors are weird.
A little weird.
Speaking as an actor. Um, but do you ever have anybody like slide into your DMs?
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
I only get the ones that I follow. So if I don't follow you, I don't see it.
Yeah. You don't ever go
So,
into your
and I rarely look in the other category of like
yeah,
all.
requested
Yeah.
messages or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Have
Don't.
you ever like gone on a date with somebody that slid into your DMs in that
Yeah,
fashion?
of course.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I
for
remember
sure.
this one time. There's this guy that I followed. Thought he was really funny, and anyway, I was like, oh, cute, funny, and then woke up in the morning, and it was like, hey, and I was like, oh wow, gotta love the universe. Hi,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's
which led to a
funny.
few dates.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Man, it's so fun to talk to you. I'm just like, I feel like I could go on and on asking you questions, but did you ever have any, one thing I don't want to forget to ask you, but when you have met, so you met Donald Trump and you have been around him so many times. I mean, what is your takeaway? He's such a polarizing man. I mean, he
Yeah.
has to be one of the most, you know, I don't know, historic people ever. I just, I don't even know how to
I mean,
describe
he's
it,
just
but
like he's, it's so cool to be able to campaign that last week with Tulsi, and then we ended up being with Trump for the last couple of stops of the tour of the campaign, the day before election, and rode on Trump Force One a couple times, and on the way home from Michigan, the last rally, I believe it was Howard Lutnick that gave me his seat because we were hanging out and on the bus together going to them. So anyway, so I sat next to him for I don't know, almost 2 hours of the flight
yeah.
back to Florida, and he's he's very funny.
Hmm.
He's very he'll say anything. He's very open. You definitely get old school kind of good old boy feel from him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's how old is he? He's like 80, right? I mean,
Yeah, he's like
and he's
80.
built massive buildings in New York City. I mean, he's got a little bit of that in him, right?
Yeah.
But he also is very good he's curious, and I think he's really good at controlling the narrative. I think
Hmm.
he's very good at making sure that whatever message is out there is the one that he wants it to be, and so he's a master at media too, which
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but
He's
I
very,
really ultimately he doesn't need the job, right? So,
right.
obviously there's a lot of a thought around ego and wanting the job because of the narcissistic nature that people feel from him. And look, we all have we're all on some spectrum of narcissism. I'm sure I've got a little more than others. But what I see in the administration now is I see a whole lot of people that don't need to do the job they're doing because they don't need the money and they don't
Right.
need the pressure, they don't need the stress, they don't need it, but they actually just feel like they can make a difference and they actually really want to help
Yep.
make the country what they believe it can be. So
Right.
whether it's Trump or whether it's someone like even Vivek Ramaswamy, I mean, he's wildly wealthy. He doesn't need to do anything, but he
Right.
wants to help. Or Kelly Loeffler, who's in charge of small business administration. She's a billionaire, and so is her husband. And she doesn't
Yeah.
need that job. She doesn't need to do
Right.
that. Or Brooke Rollins got brought back to do Department of Agriculture. These people, none of them need to do anything. They just feel or Tom Homan had retired many times and got him back into the game again. It's
Yeah.
these people are, I mean, even Pam Bondi, who's a friend, she was didn't want to do it. And Trump's I need you to do this. And so,
Yeah.
there's just been a lot of people that have been brought in that don't necessarily need to do the job, but feel like they can make a difference. And whenever I'm on, in DC and talking to people or talking to politicians, it's they all feel like they can actually do something now. They can actually
Right.
get things done. And so, so what a time to be alive.
Truly. It's I've seen people joke about, wow, this season of America is crazy. Like the script, sort of
Planet Earth
joking about
chapter 2025
25.
or season 2025 is lit.
It is lit. It is nuts. This
Yeah,
season of America is crazy.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, well, Danica, thank you so much. I feel like talking to you, like I said, I feel like I'm not worthy. You're
Stop.
the things that you're doing, and it's just so cool. I was telling my mom this morning when I was talking to her, I'm like, the thing about Danica is she can sit and talk with Donald Trump on a plane for 2 hours, but also you would totally sit in my mom's kitchen with me and have a glass of wine and chit chat about health and
Oh,
dating.
yeah.
And if my mom was like, Danica, can you take the garbage out? You'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
where's your trash can? You're not too big for your britches.
Oh,
You're
thank
so
you.
down to earth.
Thank you.
And so I just
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Well,
you
you're
coming
all,
on.
you know, we're family. Having done what we did for so many
Yeah.
years, for so much time. I mean, like, we
Right.
become, you really do have this sort of friendship and level of respect and understanding and like undying friendship. So it's been a
Yeah.
pleasure to do it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, it feels like we're all a big family that we've done this,
Yeah.
and you believe we're still doing it. How long it's been that you're not, and we're still in it
I
every
mean, I
weekend.
do think about that. I do think about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. And they're
Yeah.
still all at it. Like,
I mean, we've had a roller coaster of
yeah.
our of Ty's racing career, but yeah, it's pretty nuts that everybody's still at it. Well, thank you so much, and we've floated this out there into the universe, and just invite me to your wedding, all right?
Done.
That's all I ask.
Done. I love a party, so but I might do it somewhere. It's gotta be like summer in Europe wedding though, because I'm obsessed with Europe in the
Perfect.
summer.
Yes, I saw your. How do you even call that? What's that?
Affogato, the coffee thing.
Affogato. Yes,
Affogato. It's
I've
ice
never.
cream basically with espresso
Yeah,
on it.
I need to have
I
this.
had one of those last year in Florence at the exact place that I posted the video. It's like the number one place in the world to get an affogato. It's supposed to be the best. And yeah, I should have got two for sure.
All right. Well, we'll go get some affogato at the wedding.
Done.
Okay.
Done. Done.
Oh, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
All righty.
You're
Have a
welcome.
great
So good to see
day.
you.
We'll talk soon. You too.